So to give you guys an overview of what we are going to cover today. So our discussion today will primarily be around how this course is structured. Okay. So today's session will not be around covering what is a business analyst, what all practices we do, how do we get started, but it is more about understanding how the course has been structured, how much time it will take, who all can benefit out of it, who all can enroll on it, what can you expect out of this course, and those type of things, so as to get you guys started. Now, at any point in time, if you guys have any questions with respect to my voice not being clear, or if you in general have any questions, feel free to stop me during this introduction session. But I'll also request you that once we complete the introduction and start tomorrow with the actual business analyst course, so once I end up finishing or explaining a topic, then probably post your questions. Okay, so that in that way you are not disturbing my rhythm, and at the same time I should not stop you or discourage you from asking questions. So if you get any questions, just make a note of it, and as soon as I'm done explaining a topic, throw in your questions. If you don't want to ask your questions, feel free to put them in the chat box. Okay, so every time I ask you for a question, I'll also look at the chat box just to see if there are any open questions or not. Okay, so we'll get started. Welcome everyone. This is your business analyst training. Okay, so let's first talk about the agenda, what we are going to discuss today. And this is explicitly about today alone. Okay, we are just trying to understand what this course is, how it is structured, what all are covered, what can be expected out of it. So we'll start our agenda with know your trainer, that who is basically knowing about me. Then what are the prerequisites before this training, okay, that you should do? What are some of the myths surrounding business analyst? What all content will be covered as part of this course? What's a roadmap or timeline, like how are we going to cover this content and in how much duration? Okay, some of the basic preparation, so basically how to prepare you guys for the business analyst role, what are the tools that we are going to cover, and at the end of all this course, what can you expect, what will be the outcome of this course? Okay, so we'll get started with the first one, know your trainer. So I have been into the IT industry for 13 years and 2 months to be precise. Now, I started my career as a developer and then gradually moved across different phases of SDLC. So, and then got to work into waterfall methodology, and now I'm working completely into agile domain. So as organizations restructure their way of working, you'll get plenty of opportunities to work along with it as well. During some of my work days, I also performed the role of a scrum master. Basically, as a business analyst, they wanted you to perform the role of a scrum master as well. So I did my scrum master certification, and also I have an inclination towards technical things. Okay, so though as a BA, I'm not obliged to know about technical details, but it is out of sheer interest that I try to know or explore more about technical things. So I did certification on technical architecture as well. Now, moving on to the next slide, what are the prerequisites? Okay, so what is expected out of you for every participant that is planning to join this business analyst training? Okay, now, number one is you should have any bachelor's or master's degree. That is more than enough for you guys to get started or for you guys to get enrolled into this course. Now, if you are someone who is already working into the IT industry, who have sufficient experience either as a programmer, or I have written over here at the bottom, quality assurance team or their respective leaders, and now you want to switch your career in IT, from quality assurance or programming to a business analyst. You can do that as well. Now, if you have worked in any other domain, let's talk specifically about non-IT, like things like customer service representatives, sales executive, or if you have been part of KPOs or BPOs, or your help desk support executives, and now you want to switch your career because you have already started somewhere and now you want to switch your career into IT. Okay. Now, I would warn you guys that if you are specifically from non-IT with experience, I would suggest that you should not have, a very long gap. Like the case is, it should not happen that you have worked for 10-15 years in non-IT field and now after 10-15 years you are trying to switch into IT. I'm not saying it is impossible, but the way our IT industry is typically structured, people will be more concerned about asking for the gap, like what you were doing for 10-15 years, why you want to switch career to business analyst now. So they want a good answer to that question before they accept your profile. Okay. However, if you are a college pass out, or if you're already from IT trying to switch ways, or if you have a smaller amount of experience, like 3 to 5 years in non-IT and now trying to switch into IT, then to an extent that is acceptable. Okay, so that is what is expected out of you as background. So you need not worry about if you are from non-IT or if you are a college pass out. So we'll go through the course content where I'll explain you what all topics we are going to cover. So the topics that we have covered, that we are going to cover, that will actually be preparing you right from the basics. Okay. So far, any questions, guys? Let me quick on chat as well. Okay. Any questions? Any suggestions? Okay, so no problem. We'll move forward. Now, what are some of the myths or assumptions on business analyst profile? Now, you guys, before reaching out for business analyst profile, you would have done, I'm sure you guys would have done some background check. Okay, what is a business analyst? Okay, who is a business analyst? What are they doing? What is expected out of a business analyst? So if you can unmute and give your inputs, like while doing research about business analyst, what did you come across, or what prompted you to at least attend this demo session? Or if you are shy of unmuting and telling, then you can put on the chat as well. Any input, guys? Jagdish, Ramya, Vandana, like did you hear about anything, good things, bad things about business analyst? No problem. So we'll move ahead. So what are some of the myths or assumptions surrounding your business analyst profile? So one is, people often say that the business analyst is supposed to be requiring a technical background. Okay, which is not the case as such. As a business analyst, there are certain skill sets. Okay, that you require to have good grasp on. So stuff like being proactive. Okay, so you need not wait for someone to tell you what you need to do. You should be proactively doing things. Okay, before someone asks you, you should be able to put forward a question to them. Okay, so that people realize that you are actively working on something, you are not waiting for their instruction to start your work. Okay, similarly, like on our day-to-day basis also, we obviously like people who proactively. If you give them a task, like if you give a task to your younger sibling, brother, sister, anyone, and if they come back and tell you that they have completed the task or that they are working on it, and they ask you cross questions on it, you definitely feel little bit happy that you don't have to instruct or guide them about every small thing. Okay, so you are not expected to know more technical details. Technical is more of secondary in nature. Okay, so technical knowledge is secondary in nature. So I will definitely say that if there is a business analyst who knows technical things, okay, so they are of a better advantage at getting different types of jobs, not just business analysts. They can even switch from business analyst to a software developer or a coder. Okay, so if they have good technical knowledge, they need not necessarily be a business analyst alone. But for a business analyst, technical knowledge is secondary. We don't want people to be doing the business analyst role and then writing the code, so that will completely create a software application that will not have any bugs, that will not be designed better. So as a business analyst, have good, be proactive. You are supposed to be requiring good communication skills. Okay, learning and listening skills. Okay, you may be working on different domains, different areas. Like today you may be working for a banking client in IT industry. Tomorrow you may move to a health insurance client. Sometimes later you may move to a life insurance client. So you have to keep learning about new business industry, how that industry operates. Your business analyst knowledge, how do you capture details, how do you write your requirement documents, the basics remain same. It's just the industry that you have to keep learning. So these are some of these skills. As we move forward during the course, we have a session completely dedicated on the skills that are required, the skills or competencies that are required for you to do your role or justify your role as a BA. Okay, and there will be some interview questions around that as well. Now, suppose you are someone who is a college pass out or from a non-IT background, who doesn't have technical knowledge or the technical skill set. Is it difficult to start your career as BA? No, it's completely not difficult. I will not say it is easy to start your career as a BA. As a BA, remember, your most important aspect is actually bridging gap between your client and developers or testers. Okay, so on day to day basis, or if not on daily basis, at least every second or third day, you are interacting with client. Okay, in IT industry, client is considered everything. Whatever client says should happen. So when you are someone who is in a client facing role, who is interacting frequently with the client, you are obviously supposed to be to have good communication skills, good interpersonal skills, to build rapport with client, to understand what client wants, to be able to document what client wants, and then communicate those details with developer. Okay, so even though you may not be requiring lot of technical skills, but you certainly require good amount of learning, listening, communication skills, building interpersonal relationships. Because as a business analyst, people just don't expect you to write requirement and then go away. They expect you to build good rapport with the client as well, so that client feels comfortable with us. Client in turn will give more work to us. We don't want to just work on create one software for the client and then say tata bye bye to the client. We want client to come back and give more work to us, and client will only come back and give more work if they feel happy and satisfied with mainly the business analyst. Okay, so you need to have good interpersonal or relationship building skills. The same thing applies for fresher as well. So basically, I covered both the points, that as a business analyst, you may not be requiring a lot of technical skill set, but a lot of on the interpersonal sides like communication skills, listening skills, learning skills, documentation skills, okay, being proactive, so that you can build a good rapport with the client. Now the last one is, a lot of time people say we don't need a business analyst because we have SMEs. SMEs are basically subject matter experts, people who have expertise in one given subject. Okay, for example, your maths teacher, your maths teacher of class 10th can be considered as an SME of math subject till class 10th. Okay, because they have expertise in one particular subject. So subject doesn't necessarily mean our course subject. Subject could mean anything. Someone who has expertise in artificial intelligence, they can be considered as SME in AI part. Someone who has expertise in process building, they can be considered as SME in process building. We have technical, we have architects whom we call, or interior designer for whom we call for, renovating our interiors of the house. So they are SMEs in interior designing. So sometimes people often say that we already have SMEs, subject matter experts in our company. Why do we need a business analyst? So the two roles, subject matter expert, SME, and business analyst, are two completely different profiles. A subject matter expert, their main responsibility, for a subject matter expert, SME, their main responsibility is to keep on enhancing their knowledge on the subject, their knowledge on the subject. Okay. Whereas what business analyst will try to mainly do is, a business analyst will try to utilize the SME, client, different people, to help their team, their team as in developer testers, to help their team build a good software. Okay. So a business analyst is not trying to compete with subject matter expert in trying to expand their knowledge. As a business analyst, there is no one stopping you to learn about any subject. You can learn about AI, you can learn about new technologies, cloud also. There's no one stopping you from there. But learning AI alone will not help you. Learning cloud alone will not help you. Okay. As a business analyst, your primary skill is to talk to client, talk to these experts, understand what they want in the software, how they want in the software, give them suggestions on how to build the software, and then document those and share the document with your development team. Okay, so these are two completely different profiles. A business analyst and an SME are two different profiles, two different workflows. So far, any questions, guys? I'm assuming you all are waiting probably for your dinner.
Hi Harsha, Rekha here. I'm so sorry, I just joined this call.
No problem. So far, any questions?
No, as of now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi Harsha.
Yes.
Yeah, I have one question. Like, if you have a experience of 9 years experience of non-IT industry, so how can we crack the interview of BA?
Well, I would suggest that in that case, you start not by saying that you have 9 years of non-IT experience, but you say that you have 5, 6 years of non-IT experience, and then 3 years you were working in that organization as a business analyst.
If in that case, will you provide any project to put in our resumes?
Yes, yes, there will be case studies that you guys will be working on. And don't worry, at the end of it, so once we understand the course, the intention is understand the course. Once you understand the course, then we will help you build your resume also. So that if anyone questions you anything about your resume or your CV, you should be in a position to answer that. And the only way you'll be able to answer it is if you understand what is being written in your resume. Why is it being written? What type of project it was?
Okay, Harsha, thank you.
Okay, so I'll move on to what topics will be covered. So when we start our session starting tomorrow, so first thing we'll cover is business analyst introduction. Okay, so we'll go through who is a business analyst, how the role of business analyst was created in IT industry, what a business analyst will do on a day-to-day basis. Okay, what's the general for people from non-IT background? We also have some of the sessions specially dedicated towards how the IT industry works. What are the different team sizes of IT industry? How do we get projects in IT industry? What BA will do, so that you understand some of the basics of IT industry, how they operate, what the team size is, what are the different roles and responsibilities of people within IT industry. So once you understand that, once you understand business analyst, what is expected out of business analyst, then we moved on to the software development life cycle. Okay, so that's basically a methodology or a framework that is used to develop a software development life cycle. So basically we have waterfall methodology. We will go on it in detail as well once we start our work. And then we have agile way of doing work that is currently used nowadays. So we'll cover both what happens in waterfall methodology, how do you perform your day-to-day tasks or your day-to-day responsibilities in waterfall, what all type of documents you prepare, what type of people do you meet, how do you keep track of your work. And then similarly we'll move on to agile as well, like how the industry is currently working. So how as a BA you need to work into agile world. And then the third broader section of this course is actually your case study. So after every substantial topic coverage, we will have smaller assignments. Okay, these smaller assignments will help you refresh what was covered, and then we have case study at the end. So case study is basically to help you apply all the knowledge that you have gained over the course and then implement one case study. So these are some of the topics that I was talking about. As part of introduction, we will be covering the overview and origins of business analyst. What is a business analysis? Who is a business analyst? What are the different types of IT companies? So like I said, these are specifically designed for people from non-IT background, that how the IT team structure looks like, what are the different types of IT companies, what is expected out of BA in each IT company, what are the different roles and responsibilities of BA. There will be few questions in interview around this particular topic. Okay, especially
Hi
scenario based
Harsha, sorry
questions.
to cut you here. Will you be covering this BRD and all also, business requirement documents and all? How do we gather
Yes,
the requirement gathering?
definitely. So without requirement gathering, there's no BA session. So that will be covered once we move on to SDLC, the second
So
part.
okay,
That
now
is
waterfall methodology is not much used anywhere, right? As everyone have moved to agile.
that is absolutely true, but on the surface it is agile. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
people are calling it agile, but what happens is when they ask you to create user stories, okay, behind
Hmm.
the scenes they expect you to create a requirement document also. They will not say that just create user story and done, we are agile. What mostly organizations are doing is, on the surface they are calling themselves agile, but when
Okay.
you actually start working, they are doing a mix of waterfall and agile. So they will use some tool, then we'll go through those tools as well to create user story. But because user story alone is not making sense, so create a requirement document also.
Understood. Thank you, Harsha.
So that is why, I mean, even though it says waterfall methodology, but what happens is, things are, people are not expecting you to deep dive into each item as such, but they still expect you to identify your stakeholders, talk to your stakeholders, then define what each stakeholder will be doing, then gather requirements. So we'll be going through elicitation techniques. What are the different elicitation techniques? So perform one of these elicitation techniques. Basically, through elicitation technique, we get more detail around requirements. Okay, sometimes client give you very high level requirement that I want a digital payment incorporated. Now, for digital payment, there are various methods. There could be net banking, debit card, credit card. Even in India, if you talk about UPI as well, is also there. So what all you want within digital payment. So sometimes they just give you a very high level requirement. Now you use one of these elicitation techniques to get more details around that high level statement. And once you get more detail, then you document those details in the form of BRD or FRD. Okay, then we
Okay.
move on to agile, because whatever we cover in waterfall, that will act as your base. Okay, that you have to do. Now some of the organizations, they may want to create a document and maintain the document on some SharePoint, or like most organizations do, like few of the organizations, not most, they may have a software as such, which will, instead of maintaining requirement documents on a SharePoint, they want to maintain requirements on Confluence or IBM's Rec Pro. Okay, so they take license of these paid softwares, and then they try to maintain all their requirement on those softwares itself, so that it gives them single place to maintain requirements. But underlying scenario, either you have to create document, or whatever is the format of the document, you have to create something in the similar format on the software itself. So the software is only giving you a place to write down those details in the format, like what is the business purpose. So in business requirement document, what we usually do is, why are we starting this project, what are we going to gain out of this project, what are the advantages, how are we going to fulfill it, then what are the requirements. So once you cover the basic parts on why we are starting, how are we going to achieve it, what's the advantage, what's the overview, then you start on to the next part, that is, what are my requirements, what is the priority of each requirement that I am going to work on. It's just that earlier, we in waterfall, we used to create one big requirement document that will have 10 requirements. When we moved on to agile, we don't create one requirement document with 10 requirements. What we do is, we create one document, one requirement. We mainly try to stick with one thing, so we don't have to maintain one big document for everything. So as we move on to agile way of doing things, we'll give you an introduction to agile, how it works, what are the different ceremonies that are conducted in agile, how do agile meetings happen, what are the difference between waterfall and agile. Sometimes people will definitely give you questions on what roles and responsibilities are different between a waterfall and scrum for a BA. Then how do you create a user story, what format do we use, how do you write acceptance criteria. Then once you have written a user story, how do you prioritize that user story. Once user story is written and prioritized, how do you estimate that user story. And then later on, once the estimation is complete, then the how do you plan. So planning, BA is optional, but again, since BA is present in planning session, so we'll go through the planning as well. So planning and all those things will be covered as part of Scrum events. Then at the end we'll have a case study. The case study will be around implementing. We'll give you a scenario. For all that scenario you need to do create some requirement document, write user stories around it, okay, and then attach your requirement to your user stories. Now as and when we progress through these topics, one thing that is not mentioned over here is the assignments. So suppose when we have completed identifying stakeholders and managing stakeholders, so there will be an assignment following that. Now what you are expected to do is, as and when you get an assignment, try to complete that assignment before your next class. Okay. So the reason is, if you get any questions, suppose sometimes we listen through recordings or the live class, but that time we did not understand what to ask. So when you go through these assignments, you may get some questions or queries. Okay, so when you do these assignments in your next class, you can ask questions accordingly. That I was trying to do the assignment, I did not understand so and so part, or I am having difficulty in trying to finish a particular aspect of assignment. Okay, try not to ask to redo the entire assignment in the class. Okay, so that basically tells that maybe I was not able to explain you the concept particularly well, or maybe you did not understand it, whatever be the case. But if try to do at least some part of the assignment, if not the all. If you do it all, it's well and good. Now what I would also expect you guys is, as and when you are doing your assignment, or when you are going through the recordings, assignment and recordings, try to maintain your own notes. Okay, these notes will help you do the revision or recap. Okay, the training, the recordings could be 1 hour long. Similarly, assignments may not give you the complete picture also. So when you are going through recordings and doing assignments, try to prepare your own notes. These notes will help you do the quick revision and prepare you for the interviews as well. Okay, I'll also share you guys once we go through once we actually start the training program, on how to prepare notes as well, so that these things will help you give relevant ideas.
Sure, Harsha.
Now, given that we have this particular course, so what is expected in terms of the timelines? So we are targeting, we don't have a fixed timeline that everything has to be completed within 20 hours. I understand that some people may be quick learners, some people may not learn things that fast, so we'll not try to rush on to things. Okay, so at adequate breaks, okay, we may do a recap sessions as well, or we can do a question and answer session as well. Suppose we are done with week one. In week one, we are trying to understand, we are trying to cover the business analyst introduction part. At the end of week one, suppose you guys have questions, or you guys have lot of doubts. So before starting with week two, what I can do is, if most of you agree, we can have a question answer session in between. Okay, so we'll go through all the questions, we'll try to get answers to those questions, and then start with our week 2 topics. Similarly, week 3 and week 4 onwards. So the only thing is, we'll not have question answer sessions, dedicated question answer session after every day. Okay, so suppose whatever we are discussing today, if you have any questions, we will reserve 5 to 10 minutes in the next class to go through the doubts. Okay, whatever doubts you have, so we'll discuss those doubts of previous class for first 5-10 minutes, and then we will start with the current day topic. Now, if you think those 5 to 10 minutes of doubt clearing sessions are not helping you, and that there is a lot of question that you have to ask, then we can also dedicate one session entirely that may extend your timeline of the course, but that will also help you understand things in a better way. So that is why I'm saying it's not a fixed time duration course. If there are no doubts, no queries, if you guys are able to understand everything well, then we are expected to done by end of week 4 the entire course, and your week 5 will be your case study and preparations. So that is where we'll try to help you while you are trying to work on your case study, also help you with your resume preparation, and if needed, guide you on some of the topics, like how if you need any particular help with respect to mock interviews as well. But in case if you guys get a lot of doubts, questions, and if you want those to be resolved, then these timelines, just understand that they are not strict timelines, okay? So they are more flexible in nature. So we can accordingly adjust them. But week one, we try to finish up business analyst introduction. Week two, we try to do stakeholder risk analysis, activity diagrams. Week three, cover in detail about business requirement documents, how you do. Week four, completely dedicated towards agile way of doing work. How do you write stories? And then week five will be your case study and preparations. Now, what are the tools that we are going to learn as part of this course? And these are also necessary to help you guys prepare for your job in a better way. Okay. So we will be going through Visio. Visio is a tool that is used to create flowcharts. Now Visio is a licensed software. Some of you may have already on your desktop or laptop. Some of you may not have it. So don't worry. Once the session starts, I'll give you an alternative software that is available for free. So the idea is to, whether you learn through Visio or that alternative free software, the idea is to learn how to create flowcharts. What do each diagram mean in the flowchart? We'll also go through Jira. Once we start our agile classes, we'll go through Jira. Jira is your agile lifecycle management tool. So that is where you create your user stories. That is where you track the progress of your user stories. That is where you create your tasks also. What are you working on? And that is where the senior management keeps a track of everything. How well my team is progressing. Is my team productive enough or not? Okay. Now, while you are working on these two tools, that is my responsibility to teach you. We also have MS Office, that is Microsoft Office with Microsoft Word or PowerPoint or Excel, that I am assuming that you guys have some basic knowledge, but as and when we give you the assignments, you will get to work on them more. Okay, so there will be no separate session as such on MS Office, but if you all want to have a separate session, I can certainly take it, but usually as part of this course we don't teach MS Office, but we'll give you assignments that will utilize Office, like asking you to prepare a presentation and then submit those presentations and then give you review or feedback on those presentations, asking you to create requirement documents that will be done on the Microsoft Word. So that will give you a good grasp or coverage on MS Office. So far, any questions?
No, Harsha.
Okay, so I'll take this question at the end, Vandana, on the career growth. So once I explain this, I'll cover two more parts. One is the certification journey and one is the career growth aspect. Now, what is the outcome of this course? Okay, so basically, what can you expect once the course is done? So you should have some assignment and case studies with every aspect. Okay, so you should be able to understand what a business analyst is expected to do on a day-to-day basis. How do you plan your activities? How do you elaborate requirements? Elicitation is one term that we are going to use frequently. Elicitation is adding details onto high level statements. Okay, how do you perform your analysis and then document the requirements? Then also, how do you choose your elicitation techniques? How do you communicate requirements and how do you manage them? How to draw a use case diagram, along with it, how to draw an activity diagram as well. Okay. Then elements of solution verification and validation. So as a business analyst, once you write down requirement, the next stage is to identify solution. So how do you add different elements of solution verification? Then, like I said, we have a session completely dedicated on what are the skill sets or competencies required for a BA. So we'll go through that so that you understand what to do. Then waterfall and agile life cycles, how they operate, how BA works in both the phases. Okay, and how do you perform business analysis concepts, review a vision and scope document, plan for requirement activities, and last one is how to conduct an interview. That will be on both sides. So interview is one of the elicitation techniques, and also mock interviews for you guys. So at the end, when we are going to prepare for business analyst role, the case study and mock interviews will help you. So we'll have case study wherein you'll be given a task to implement whatever we studied so far in the form of a requirement document, use case diagram, activity diagrams, and also help you prepare with some of the mock interviews as well. Now I'll keep this screen open over here. Sorry. And there are two more aspects that I said I'll cover along with it. So one is the certification part. Okay. So in business analyst, when you start your career as business analyst, usually there is an organization IIBA that offers three types of certifications: ECBA, CCBA, and CBAP. Okay. So ECBA is your entry level certified business analyst. So that is your entry level certification. CCBA is your mid level certification, and CBAP is your professional level or expert level certification. So as and when you progress in your career, you can opt for these certifications. So like entry level, whatever course we are going to go through, that will prepare you guys for the entry level certifications. That means the certification is not part of this course, but it will enable you to appear for this certification. CCBA, which is the mid-level certification, it requires usually 4 to 6 years of experience range. So this course will cover most of the aspects that are part of CCBA, but just by taking this course alone, you'll not be able to appear for the certification exam, CCBA certification exam. So you need to have uh, a more advanced course for this one. So whatever course we are going to go through, that will prepare you for entry level certification, the current course. And then professional, I usually don't advise people to directly go for professional certification unless they have adequate experience. Okay, because in professional they ask you to design the entire business application. So usually that is good to take when you have around 6 to 8 years of experience as a business analyst, working independently without much of your help from your seniors. So one, you have good amount of professional or industry experience, and second, you have adequate amount of knowledge along with the experience. So then you go for this professional certifications. But I assume that most of you guys would either want to start your career as BA, so you can, after this course you can opt for it. But remember, certifications are not mandatory as such, that you have to have a business analyst certification, then only your resume will be picked. But it is nice to have, it is not mandatory as such, nice to have things. The next thing that obviously comes to mind is, I take this course, I start my career as BA. Now what are my growth perspective? Okay. How do I grow as a BA? So when you start your career as BA, what you can do is you can work as a junior business analyst or a business analyst, where you are doing some of the things independently, and for some things you are relying on your seniors. Okay, for some guidance, help. Okay, because in IT industry it is difficult to to be a one man army. Okay, so when obviously when you start as business analyst, you are not a one person army. Now at some point in time you will grow, you will get promotions. With your experience you will become a senior business analyst, wherein you're as a senior business analyst, now you are in a position to guide your junior business analysts who are starting their career or who have relatively smaller experience, 1 to 3 years of bracket of experience. So now not only as a senior BA you are doing your work, but you are also working, you are also guiding or mentoring your juniors. Then next, earlier in waterfall it used to be lead, now you are a team lead. Now what most of things have done is they have changed it to a product owner role. So in agile way, you start your journey as product owner. Sometimes for BAs, they call it as associate product owner. Then you become product owner. Okay. And then there is something called as lead PO. So basically, as a associate product owner, you are seeking help from your product owner and then trying to get the work done. You're not doing anything independently. As a product owner, you are now basically managing one or two applications at max, and not the entire application, but maybe one or two sub applications. Okay. Now, as a lead product owner, you are responsible for one complete application. Now, one application can have multiple sub applications. For example, in your health insurance domain, how do you start your work is your work starts when you take care of enrollments. Okay, so for health insurance, what is the starting point, what is the basic point? You create a product. Okay, you create a product is nothing but your policy. Okay, you create a policy with some benefits, that in health insurance I'm going to give you hospitalization benefit, pre-hospitalization, post-hospitalization benefits, what all diseases will be covered. So you create policies. Then what you do is you try to market those policies. Okay, you do advertisements. So based on that advertisement, some sales will happen. Okay, some users will come and buy your health insurance policy. Once a user buy those health insurance policies, you enroll them. Okay, you add their detail into their system. Now once you add detail into their system, you will do billing on those users, that you need to pay your policy. Okay, keep paying policy to keep paying your premium so that you can keep your policy active. Now once billing is confirmed, now users can also be sent payment confirmation receipts. Okay, receipts, you give them receipts that we have received payments. You keep track of their payment. Sometimes it happens now, you make online payment, the payment goes in queue. They say that we will update you about the payment status in 1 to 3 days. So tracking payments, sending payment receipts. Now the whole purpose of buying health insurance policy was to claim. So now suppose if you have taken the policy, if you have been hospitalized, now you want to claim whatever you spent in hospital, now you want that back. So you will submit claim that I have spent this much money while I was hospitalized, I want that back. So you see there are different categories or different sections within health insurance. So when all these work together, your health insurance works together. Okay, so as an end user we see all of it as one. We don't see it as separate things, we see everything as one thing. But when you start working in IT industry that works for a health insurance client, you will see that all these are different applications that are trying to interact with each other. Okay, now as a lead product owner, you will be responsible for this one application entirely. Okay, so it will have a lead product owner, it will have a lead product owner. Now within enrollment, you can have multiple sub applications as well. Like suppose if you are getting data through files, if you are getting data through online, or if you are getting data through some other software, like some software that is used by agent or your employees. So you can get different sources. Now you can have one PO who is looking after file, one PO who is looking after online. and one PO who is looking through the agents. Now these POs can internally have their associated product owners. So when you start your career, most likely they call it as BA. Nowadays, some of the organizations, instead of calling them business analysts, they do call them product owner as well. Associate product owner, sorry guys, not product owner. Product owner is when you gain some experience, when you gain some knowledge, and that's when you start managing one application on your own. As a lead PO, you start maintaining one domain on your own, like one lead for entire enrollment. So they know in and out of how a member is enrolled, what are the different ways on which it can be enrolled. Okay, so that is how your career grows as BA, and as your career grows, obviously your salary increases as well. So any other questions, guys?
Yeah, Harsha, a small question. You said
Mhm.
regarding the certifications, right? Is it mandatory to have certification for my case, I have 4 years of experience in IT.
No, no. So certifications are not mandatory. Okay, certifications are your for added advantage. So far, even when I first switched my job, I did not have any certifications. And to be honest, very recently only I did my ECBA and CCBA, despite having 13 years experience. So certifications, what I have seen, are secondary. If you are especially starting your career as BA, I would advise against doing a certification, because when you tell someone that you have done certification, they expect more out of you. They start asking more questions out of you. So what should ideally happen is your experience and knowledge should speak for yourself, and you should only go for certifications when you get some comfort, okay. So
Okay.
nowadays, I'll give you an example, a real life example. So one of my friend who was working as a business analyst did business analyst certification, then immediately realizing that I need to switch career, they went on to do Python certification, then SQL certification. So there's no point in haphazardly trying for different certifications. First, do some work, maybe spend some 5 to 6 months of time in doing a particular work, see if you are really liking that work or not, and if you want to grow your career in that domain, then go for certifications. But for finding jobs and for appearing for interview, certifications are not mandatory, but they can help you. I mean, help you in the sense like, if a particular job has any requirement, then they will explicitly call out that we require business analyst certification like ECB or CCBA. But if you search on Naukri or LinkedIn, 99% of the time you will not find jobs which say that we want people with certification. They will only say that we want people with required experience.
Yeah, that's true. In my case, I have 4 years of experience, as I said previously. What should I do? I have experience as software developer. Did I say it as I have experience of 4 years as software developer, and now I am trying to switch as BA, or I should say as I have 4 years of experience or 3.5 years of experience as BA.
So for that, once you go through the course, what I would recommend is, say that for first 2 years you have worked as a developer, and then
Mhm.
next 2 years or next 1.5 to 2.5 years you worked as a BA.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. Yeah, thanks for that, Harsha. Thank you.
Okay, guys. So any more questions? We still have 5 minutes.
No, Harsha.
Okay, then we'll meet. Sorry, before we end this call. So what I expect you guys, I'm sure you guys are already coordinating on this number. Okay, but do save this number for any of your queries with respect to timings, duration, or any questions that you have, do reach out on this number. Okay, that's the dedicated coordinator for business analyst training from Harsha Trainings. And also I would request you guys to send out a confirmation note that you were able to attend the training, so that in case if training duration is changing, or if there are any updates with respect to recordings availability and those type of things, we can coordinate with you in a better way. Okay, so I hope you all have this number. If not, I'll ping in the conversation. Just expect you guys to send a note, so that, like I said, we will be able to coordinate with you in terms of giving you or providing you with right kind of updates on where are the recordings available, what location, and about class timings, or if there are any holidays. Okay, and we'll meet tomorrow at the same time, 8:30. Tomorrow we'll try to understand what business analyst is, and how do they operate in IT industry.
Sure, Harsha.
Good. So we'll meet tomorrow at the same time, 8:30 p.m. IST.